Dear viewers, welcome to another tea time session with Heritage Royal Homes. I still remain your host, Omobolaji, and today we are going to be having a talk on types of property documentation we have in Nigeria. Or let's put it as types of property documentation you need to have when you buy into a property in Nigeria. On today's episode, I have with Ms. Shola, who will be shedding more light on different types of documentation we have in the real estate industry. So over to you, Shola. When we talk about land documentation, I know that a lot of people just broadly believe that when you buy a land, just get your receipts and you are done. But I think there is more to property documentation. Different types of property requires different kind of title. The way you document it varies from the other. So I wish you can just help us shed more light on property documentation today.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Bolaji. Well, it is actually an interesting topic, and it is very good for the viewers to really get an understanding of the property when they are purchasing it.
Okay.
So we all know that land document or title status are legit documents that's an evidence of ownership of land.
Yeah, it's proof
right?
ownership.
Okay, so these titles has to be vetted before investing in any property.
Okay.
Right. So why? Because this provides value, security, and informational proof to the real estate
Yeah, it
investors.
even says you as an investor from
Yes, yes. So when buying a property, it is very crucial for the prospective buyer to have an understanding of property rights. Just buying isn't actually enough, right? So your knowledge about laws, policies, and obligations goes a long way to preventing you from land controversies like false ownership, fraud, inheritance issues, or demolition of properties by
the
government
government.
authorities.
Okay.
Yeah. So for me, I would say the property status that has to be required by prospective buyers or landowners are quite many, right? But there are a few that's commonly used by landowners.
Okay.
And one of them is the CFO, which
Yeah.
is Certificate of Occupancy. So this document gives ownership of that land, right? If there is a land that doesn't have a CFO, that land can be easily seized at any point of time,
Okay.
right? And there can only be one CFO.
Okay.
So let's say peradventure that a landowner has a land and that land has a CFO, right? And he chooses to resell that land to a prospective buyer. Well, so before that transfer of ownership of that property has to be transferred to that buyer, there has to be a legal document stating that this land that already has a CFO has been transferred to the buyer.
Okay.
And that legal document is the governor's
Consent. Okay.
Yes.
And I think that legal document should be written boldly, black and white.
Yes.
There is no audio, there is no verbal, I'm transferring it. It must be printed out and signed and stamped.
Yes.
Okay.
So that is what, since there can only be one CFO, so that is what the prospective buyer would have to prove that the ownership of that property has been transferred to him. So that is
Okay.
one of the legal documents we have, which
Okay.
is governor consent. So we also have the land purchase receipt. We all know this is like a document or a receipt acknowledging that this buyer has made purchase for this land,
Okay.
right? And that follows up with the contract of sales, which entails all details regarding that property or land that has been purchased and the amount that needs to be paid in interval.
Okay.
So we also have right of occupancy.
Right, that's RFO.
Yes.
Okay.
So this document gives the right to individuals or community to occupy or make use of a land.
Okay.
But it doesn't mean that they have ownership of that land.
Okay, it means right of occupancy is way different from certificate of
Yes.
occupancy.
Yes.
Okay.
So another one we have is government allocation, right?
Okay.
This is like a property that is within the government acquisition.
Okay.
So the government allocates a certain property to an individual or an organization. And lastly, I would say we also have the deed of assignment, right? The deed of assignment is a document that explains that a section of that property has been covered up by C of O, and that specific portion of that plan has been assigned to the purchaser.
Okay.
So there are so many other legal documents such as allocation letter, survey plan, gazette, and so many more. So every potential and aspiring owner of landed properties has to ensure that they conduct due diligence of the title, the accessibility, and the usage of that land before it is bought.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much, Shola. I think I understand a lot from what you just said,
Yeah.
especially the right of occupancy part and the governor's consent.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when people want to buy a property and you tell them the title on this property is governor's consent, they are always like, why is it not C of O? Why is it not? And I think most times people just tend to mix it up, or maybe they don't really understand that
Exactly.
government consent is a property that was once like C of O on
Yes.
it, and okay, from one person selling to another person.
another
So for me to
person.
transfer that certificate of occupancy, like the ownership of that property to another person, then the title will now move from certificate of occupancy, which is C of O,
Yes,
to governor's consent. Okay,
to make it legal.
To make it legal,
Yes.
and it must all be documented,
Exactly.
strictly black and white.
Yes.
Okay, so I think I understand that. But can you please shed more light on that right of occupancy?
Okay, right of occupancy.
Yes.
So it's, let me say, by venture, there are certain people that just want to use a certain land,
Okay.
but they don't want to claim ownership.
Okay.
Maybe they want to use it for a certain thing, depending on what you want to use
Maybe
it
for a project.
Yes.
As a factory.
Yes. So they get a certificate stating that they are allowed to occupy and use that land lawfully for a certain
Okay.
period of time, but they do not have the ownership of that
the
land.
Yeah, okay. I think that makes more sense.
Yes.
Yes. One last thing I wanted to shed more light on is the deed of assignment.
Okay.
Deed of assignment, because a lot of investors don't know how powerful, like how important it is for you to own, to have, in fact, to collect your deed of assignment.
Yeah.
Something to mix it up with your contract of sale.
Yes, true. Yeah, the contract of sale basically it's very crucial because it states all the details about the property you're buying, and maybe you're paying instrumentally. It states that you've paid a certain amount and your outstanding balance is this, or maybe you paid outright, which is still state the amount you buy. Then once your payment is being made, fully made, then they'll proceed to the legal documents you need to claim ownership of that land.
Okay, which means while claiming ownership of your property, of the land, of the house, the deed of assignment is very
crucial. Very
important. Okay, so dear audience, you've heard it all from Shola, and I'm so grateful to her because she actually shed more light to different types of documents you should expect, all depending on the kind of property you are buying. If you are buying from someone that owns, that has a C of O on the land, then you should make sure that you get governor's consent on that particular land. So I think today we've shed more light and we've helped you understand more about property documentation in the real estate industry. So thank you so much, Shola.
Thank you, Bolaji.
And till the next time you share another tea time session with me right here on Tea Time with Heritage Royal Homes, I wish you well. And it's the end of the year. It's the best time, in fact, the perfect time for you to achieve your dream of owning a property right in Lagos, Nigeria. So whether you are home or abroad, trust Heritage Royal Homes to always bring legit, valid, and valuable properties to the screen. More information about our current selling properties are in the caption below. So make sure you call the number displaying on the screen to make your inquiry. Bye-bye.